Did they do an Ignite once every quarter?
Yeah. So we do Ignite classes, yeah, every quarter. So
Have a stage 5 clinger today. She won't let me put her down.
yeah.
That's okay. That's the advantage of our job, right? Being able to have the ability.
Yeah. I'm not being as productive as I want to be today. One hand productivity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ashley, did you come to yesterday's class?
I did, but yesterday was also half as challenging as today has been. So I was in the class, but I'm going to have to request the replay because there are definitely parts that I missed.
Gotcha. Okay.
From her being loud, and sometimes if I'm lucky, I can get her to sleep during this training, but yesterday was kind of like I had to be in there getting her to sleep half the time, so I missed some of it. I'm right here. Yep. But yeah, I'm definitely going to request the recording of it.
Totally. Cool.
I'll probably end up doing the same with today's class, I imagine, just because I am going to want to be able to spend a little bit more focus than I imagine I will get to today, but I'll give my best shot.
Okay. Let's give people a few more minutes. I don't know. We're just running late. I feel like usually around like 1:05 is when people hop on.
Yeah. How old is your little one?
She is going to be 1 this month. I'm planning her first birthday party, and I'm cutting out, I don't know if you can see these.
Oh, how cute.
Cutting out her face and just a bunch of different pictures.
Aw.
And then I'm going to put, I haven't finished them, but I'm going to put them on these like extra long toothpicks to go in her cupcakes.
Cute.
And they'll have party hats on their heads too, but I'm not done yet. My older daughter made this. I don't know if you can see this, but it is really hilarious. It is like 2 of the baby bodies, 1 of my face, another baby body, and then my husband, their dad's face on the top.
Gotcha.
See that whole like concoction she glued together from the pieces that I had cut out.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna.
Okay,
What
you
is
have.
it? Qualifying for, yeah, qualifying. Sorry,
You can't get up on the desk. I'm sorry. Okay.
yeah, sure, yeah. But if you're there, you might be in the camera. I can always. Okay, no, I'll shift it. Like I said, I don't have my own office, so I share and people pop in occasionally who also need to pop in. So
Totally fine. Okay, well, oh look, someone else is coming. And we'll have them join. We will get started. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sierra. I'm Mara's assistant. I help her with all the background work when it comes to the PC program, and I do a lot of just assisting her in whatever she needs. She unfortunately couldn't intro class today, so I am here. You've never seen me before because I've never had to do it, so here we go. So we're going to start with some accountability. Basically just tell us contacts that you've made in the last day, kind of what you've been doing with your business, things like that. Ashley, if you want to go first.
Yeah, so I had a buyer consult appointment set up for this afternoon. We ended up having to change that till Friday, which makes me feel a little more comfortable because I still feel like I need a little bit more prep time for that because I have never done it before. So I've just been like really spending time on creating my buyer presentation because I did not have that. So I'm going through the like KW with like the designs. I found like the YouTube video and I'm watching that to like create the presentation. So I'm about halfway done with that. And I've only made one connection today so far, but I plan on doing more hopefully later when there are extra hands to help with the stage 5 clinger.
Awesome. Great.
That's my game plan.
Great. Courtney, do you want to go next?
I haven't made any contacts today, but yesterday, me and Mara went over like the business plan for 2023. So I'm gonna try to at least do like an open house every weekend, at least one. So.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Kevin, do you want to go next?
Is that me?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I talked to somebody today who had some questions, but since I'm like kind of new, I was like hoping to speak to Mara or somebody else that could answer those questions because he's like has like a like permanent visa, but I don't know exactly. He doesn't know exactly how that works on buying a home or something. So that's what I'm gonna work on today.
Okay, totally. Yeah. And if you want to shoot her an email or text or anything, she's usually pretty responsive. So, all right. Yeah. So I'm going to introduce our wonderful instructor who is teaching today's class for qualified potential buyers and sellers. We have the lovely Stacy here. Stacy is a licensed real estate broker since 2019. She has a background in education and is passionate about using all of her educational knowledge gained to not only lend a unique perspective to clients and helping them love where they live, but in helping other agents to thrive. She lives in Aloha, Oregon with her husband and 2 children. She spends her free time reading and enjoying all the glorious Pacific Northwest has to offer. She's also passionate about giving back to the community and makes service a big part of her life. And she's now ready to serve you. So give your attention to Stacy. And then it's recording, and I did turn on the little ding noise. So if someone joins, you can admit them.
okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So I think I'm just going to click the reclaim host.
Yes, you should be good.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, hey everybody. I feel like it was just yesterday when I was sitting in your position where I was going to an Ignite class and just soaking in everything that was being taught to me. And at times it felt like I was drinking out of a fire hose because there was so much information and so much that needed to be done right away. that it just was pretty overwhelming. But after having gone through it, I felt so prepared. So just know that everything that that we're talking about today and that you've been learning about throughout this entire program is definitely things that are going to help you be successful in your business, and ways to run your business, because you're at a unique time right now of being able to do the things that you need to do to set up systems that are going to serve you in the long run so that the work becomes easier over time. So even though it's hard, even though there's a lot of information coming at you, just soak it in, absorb it, and then just keep doing it over and over and over again, and it'll become easier. So, but I'm here to help you. I've only been an agent for 3 years, but I'm really passionate about what I do and I love doing it. So anyway, do you guys have any questions so far? We're just barely getting started, but just in case. No, you guys are good. Okay, well then in that case, I'm going to jump right into the training slideshow. Second. Okay, can everybody see that okay? Oh, wait, I have to share my screen, right? I haven't done that. There we go. Now you can see it okay? All right. Okay, so today we're going to talk about qualifying potential buyers and sellers, and move forward in that. And so the agenda for today, let's see, moving on to the next page. I'm on a computer that is not my own, so there we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, so today we're going to be going through what you do when you have a lead, right? And how you can get to the place where you are qualifying those leads and knowing where you need to be putting your time and effort into, because it really does make a difference in you being an effective agent on how you're able to do that. Okay, so can I have somebody volunteer to read the quote that's on the screen? All right, I'm going to call on somebody then. Go ahead, Kevin.
It says your number one job. Oh shoot, I gotta lower this because I can't see it. Your number one job as a real estate agent is to find ways to get in the path of motivated buyers and sellers.
That's right. So lead generation is essentially that, right? Putting yourself in the path of people that are ready and motivated as buyers and sellers. And so that is the first step. It's the follow-up habits that you're going to develop that you've started that are the first step that Gary Keller says is our number one job, because without this, nothing else can happen. So you need to really like get that in your heart and own that part of it, because you really just need to put yourself in the path of those that are motivated. All right, so the second half of the quote contains a very important word, motivated. We have to focus on that word, because when we follow the 80-20 principle, one of the KW6 personal perspectives that was covered on day one, there was the focus that 20% of you need to focus your top 20% on the most motivated buyers and sellers. Why do you think we do that? Anyone? Ashley? Courtney?
Sorry, I kind of missed the question. I'm like working at the same time as I'm listening.
Oh, gotcha. So why do you think that we need to focus our 20% on the most motivated buyers and sellers?
because you're most likely able to close a transaction if they're motivated.
Right, right. Because those are the ones that are going to need the attention right now. What do you do with the rest?
You like maybe like if they're not fully motivated quite yet, you just keep following up with them until they're ready.
Yeah, definitely. You just drip on them. And that's kind of a term that I was told. Dripping just means that you're constantly putting things in place so that you're top of mind when they are ready. And so a lot of that should be automated so that you don't have to put a lot of your time and effort and energy into that. But we could talk about that later. But right now we're going to cover how to qualify our leads and contacts to uncover how motivated and able they are to transact, because that's the important part. We want to focus on those that are the most motivated. Okay. Finding the most motivated. There we go. Oh. All right. When we are new to something, it can be easy to be caught up in the misunderstandings that block success. So what about, or what misunderstandings are you thinking of that are limiting your ability to move forward? So, for example, what myths do you hold about finding buyers and sellers? Like I'll share one that I used to have, is that the only way to get buyers and sellers was to cold call, right? That's a myth that I had, that in order to pick up any kind of lead, I needed to be calling and calling strangers, people that I didn't know. So that's a misunderstanding. What misunderstandings do you have? We'll start with Kevin. Go ahead.
I guess I'm kind of confused as to what the question is saying. Like, what
Yeah. So
myths?
what are some myths? What are some myths or some ideas that you hold about finding buyers and sellers? Where do you think buyers and sellers come from?
I mean, I like just people you may know, or those people that you do know, like maybe you know somebody that they overheard talking about it. So if they know that you're the ones like can do that, then they might have you in mind.
Yeah. Okay. So that's something that you think that buyers and sellers can come from people you know. What else? Ashley?
So you're running like something that's like a myth that somebody might like hold them up from reaching out to a buyer or seller.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just generally, what beliefs do you hold about finding buyers and sellers? Like, what are some things that you think the only way you're going to find buyers and sellers is?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I have a complete answer to that question. I was just going to say that like, looking at people and just thinking like, oh, they're not in that stage of life, or they're too young, or they're too old, or they're too this, or they're too that, like putting your beliefs onto them, saying like, okay, well, they're not going to buy because of this, that, and the other, when in reality, you have no idea unless you ask questions and, communicate with them what their motivation might be, or if they have a motivation, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Thanks for that insight, Ashley. You're right. There are some like preconceived ideas that we have in our own heads about what a myth would, or like what we think they might be perceiving, and we'll limit ourselves because of our own limited mindset in that way. Courtney, do you have anything to add?
I don't. Ashley pretty much covered what I was thinking.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot out there about how you can find clients and how lead generation should go. Some people might have the idea that maybe in order to be effectively lead generating, you have to spend money, right? You have to buy leads from internet, or you have to have a fully stocked database, or you're not going to be successful. But the truth is that lead generation for buyers and sellers does not have to cost money. You can lead generate through lots of areas. You can lead generate through your sphere, like Kevin had mentioned, people that you know, people that know you. You can lead generate through referrals that you have. You can lead generate through prospecting. I mean, there's all sorts of ways that you have the ability to bring in new leads that are not something that's going to cost you money, or are you can find yourself going to the grocery store and everybody in line at the grocery store is a potential lead for you. You just never know. You just need to like make it be known. And I do this all the time when I'm checking out with the at the checkout. You know, I'm like, oh, the checkout person always asks, how's your day? Oh, it was great. This is what I did today, and I'm a real estate agent. And they're like, oh, and then you get a chance to have this conversation with them about what it is. And usually, I would say about 90% of the time, they're interested in what you have to say because you're the expert in real estate. They don't know that you've not been doing it for years and years and years. They just know that, hey, this person is a real estate agent. They probably are in tune to what's going on in the market. I don't know that because that's not my specialty, so I'm going to listen to them. And you can leave a card with them. Boom. That's as easy as it gets. Everybody everywhere can be a lead for you. If you are in the habit of hosting open houses, everybody that walks in that door is a potential lead, right, for you. If you have, if you're hosting an open house, or you're farming or you're prospecting, you can go to a neighborhood and you can door knock, unless it says do not, like no soliciting or do not disturb, but you can door knock in those areas and have honest conversations about what's going on in that neighborhood, and people are going to be receptive to that. So there's everybody everywhere is a potential lead for you. And so don't be afraid to share that with others because it's a really important thing. Okay, so let's see. Is there anything that for you guys as new agents, and I don't know, Kevin, you had mentioned you're new to this. Ashley and Courtney, are you guys newer agents as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just hit the 1 month mark.
Okay, gotcha. So, so as new agents, is there anything that is kind of holding you back from doing the lead generation that you need or finding buyers and sellers? Let's kind of dig into that a little bit because that's an important thing.
I was gonna say, if I'm being completely honest, people think I'm a little crazy, but I have like social anxiety.
Okay.
So the way I lead generate will probably be a little different than everybody else. Because I'm comfortable like talking to people and meeting with people. I'm not a big crowd person. So
Okay.
like going up to people in like random places and being like, oh, hey, like I'm a real estate agent, and door knocking, kind of that makes me a little anxious.
Okay.
So if I'm being completely honest, like that's a challenge I face with trying to lead generate.
Okay, I'm glad you shared that, Courtney. I would say that's okay. Everybody's going to be different and you don't have to do things a certain way. That's the whole point of this question right here, is for you right now to be thinking, well, the only way that I can get leads is if I'm like what you had just said, going and door knocking. Like if that gives you anxiety, then that's not the way that you're going to be lead generating. You're going to be choosing the thing that is going to help you and was going to be effective for you, because that's what you need to lean into. And that's the beautiful thing about real estate, is that because there's so many different ways of getting leads and of doing your job, that you can find your niche and function in a way that makes you like be successful in that. So don't let that hold you back.
Yeah.
The having anxiety part of it, because you can function
I think
very well.
once I get more comfortable with it, I can probably find different ways to lead generate. Right now, I'm just kind of sticking to ways I feel more comfortable with since I am so new. And I don't know what I'm doing. So I feel like right now for me, it's best to do the ways I'm comfortable with doing it so I don't overwhelm myself.
Right, and that's good. That's what you need to do. And then when you get to that threshold where you're like, great, I've mastered how to do it this way, let me add something else onto it. And that's what growth is, right? And that's what growth comes in your business. So don't feel like you have to do everything perfectly right away. That's not what we're trying to say. We're just trying to say that we have some ideas, we have some misperceptions that can sometimes hold us back from taking action. So anybody else want to share about what might be holding them back in reaching out to buyers and sellers?
I guess like for me, it's like I don't have like I don't know how to like a script, I guess, like, or some kind of like how to like get the conversation going. Like I'm able to like talk to someone at the grocery store, and then you're right, they always ask like, how's your day going? So then in that I'm like, oh, I'm a real estate agent. I just became one. So I have class or something, and then they do ask questions. But I guess like my knowledge about how to do things is like what holds me back. in a sense,
Okay, so you feel like you have to know everything in order to be able to pass that on?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, here's
yeah.
a
I
little
just
tip.
joined on. Oh,
Go ahead.
go for it.
You
I was like,
just
I just
joined.
joined on last Thursday, so I'm like not even a weekend. So like my first class was like on Monday. So
Okay,
I was kind of
so
like,
you're brand,
yeah, I'm
brand,
like
brand,
that.
brand new.
Yeah. So like I'm kind of like I don't even know how things go. So
I don't
I'm
know
getting there though. I'm getting there.
if you know this, but there is script training, I believe, like Monday through Friday at like 8:40. And I haven't joined in like a few days, but I know they do go over some scripts. So you can join that class too.
That's exactly
In
what
the
I was gonna
morning,
say.
in the morning, in the
You're in the
afternoon.
right place for learning how to talk to people, because Keller Williams has scripts every day. And so
I
what
think
you have to do is come on, and the more you hear it and the more you practice it, you'll be surprised that it's going to be coming out of your mouth when you're in those conversations. Like it just happens. It like absorbs into your persona, and then your delivery is natural, your delivery is comfortable, and it makes it a lot easier. So thank you for saying that about script training, because that's exactly one way
Is that in the morning or in the
yeah,
afternoon?
it's in the mornings.
I
It's
think
at
it's at
8.
8:20.
Yeah, it's at 8:20, and Mara should have sent you the link, but if you don't have it, you can ask her for it.
Yeah, I'll just email it. She's super good about emailing that.
Yeah, it's fabulous. And another thing that I would mention when you're on your KW Connect thing, not Command, but going on to their KW Connect platform, you can access so many scripts that are just going to be helpful. They have a whole university, like it's called KW University, and they have backlogs of all training teachings, and you can download script examples for specific things that you need to become expert in. And so it's all there for you. It's a huge, huge resource. So,
Is that you said that's in KW Connect?
KW Connect, yeah. If you
Okay.
go under I think it's it's KW University. So I think there's a tab or a drop down thing that gets you over to like training, and then look up the university, and then you can download the scripts. I did that in the beginning because I felt the same way that you did, right? I felt like, I don't know what I'm talking about, right? I want to be able to know what I'm talking about. And having that was really helpful because it provided a template on how to have those conversations that are going to lead. Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
and don't feel like you have to know it all right away. Like,
No, yeah, no,
another
yeah.
thing, right? You're just starting. Give yourself time to learn the process. Give yourself time to get to know it, because getting those fundamentals in place first are really going to help you out in the long run.
I guess in that it's like I guess I got something else that holds me back is like if I don't know, I feel like the customer or the client is gonna be like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about, so then he's like gonna go with someone else. So I guess that's holding back too, kind of thing.
And here's something that I can teach you right now, that if you take nothing away from this, it's okay to acknowledge that you don't know something. You could say, oh my gosh, that's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that right away, but let me find out and get back to you. Can I have your contact information? What's your, like, if you give me your email address or your text number, then I'll follow up with the answer.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
what I did. That's what I did today with
Good.
one of like someone else. Like I don't know, but I'll get back to you. So
And a good tip my team gave me, like if you were doing an open house, or maybe you were at like a farmer's market, but you're doing something and somebody asks you a question, you can be like, look, I got to finish this up first. But let me take your name and number and I'll call you back once I'm done here, to make it seem like you're not giving away you don't know the answer, but you're busy, and you'll give them a call back when you're not.
That's great advice as well, for sure. Yeah, anybody else want to share anything that might be beliefs that might be holding them back a little bit about finding buyers and sellers, or things that you might be struggling with?
I guess another one for me, like, was like how I am younger and other people, like, my sphere of influence is smaller. But Ashley made a good point a few days ago, like how like when she was in her 20s or early 20s, she would wish she would have bought sooner, or it was something of that sort. I can't remember, but that kind of made me think, okay, maybe, you know, the younger people in my sphere of influence might be more ready to buy than I think they are.
Mhm.
Yes, definitely. I don't think that I was any more ready when we actually bought our house than I would have been, 10 years prior. So I definitely, like had I had somebody that was like, hey, like you should buy a house, like this is a good financial decision, like it's wealth building, even if it's, buy the smallest thing you can afford,
Mhm.
because that's gonna, be your first step to your next home
Mhm.
rather than
Matt,
starting where we did.
Mhm.
yeah, that definitely helped me be like, okay, well, maybe, here and there I can reach out to, younger people and be like, hey, when do you think you are going to buy? And even if it's, years from now, they'll be like, oh, my friend's a real estate agent, and they'll remember that. So,
Yep, for sure, definitely. And you're absolutely right that the more time that you have that growth equity over time, the more wealth you're going to gain. So it's an important thing to help your peers, since you are younger, to become homeowners as soon as they can, so that way they can start experience that wealth growth that is so freeing for them, right? To be able to not be stuck at the mercy of the rental market, or at the mercy of a landlord, or whatever that happens to be. Yeah.
no, I agree with that because we're renting right now. And if we could buy right now, I would do it 100 times.
Yeah.
Like, I hate paying rent.
Yeah, because it's nothing that is going towards your future, right?
No, not at all.
Everything that is not going towards your future. It's turning into something that is not helping you in any way. So it's an important step. And since you feel passionate, since that's something that you can understand, share that passion with people. That's going to be what's going to help you.
And it's also harder to like rent when you're younger and you have roommates because you keep having to go through the landlord and being like, I'm sorry, this roommate just decided to leave. But if you own the home, you don't have to go through somebody else, which is kind of sucks because with our roommates, it looks unprofessional on me and my boyfriend because these roommates keep leaving. But if we own the house, it's just our problem and not the landlord's.
Very good point. Absolutely. Another thing that you can talk to your new buyers about, and this is a pretty common thing, if they have friends that are, trusted friends, who are willing to rent out a room in the house. Some people are able to afford buying when they can, know that somebody's going to be renting out a portion of the house and then paying towards that mortgage, but the person who is, owning the house is getting all that advantage of the equity. So it is possible to jump into homeownership early. And there's so many programs out there that are zero down or first time homebuyer programs where you don't have to have a lot of money. You just have to have you just have to have a good credit score and a history of employment. And then if you have that and you're able to qualify for the homes that are out there, it can be huge beneficial thing for you to get into a home, because then you're getting that residual year over year growth equity that on average has ended up being about 6 to 7%. So year over year, which is great. Like how much return can be, like, when you buy a home and then you wait years, you can gain a ridiculous amount of money. And it doesn't have to be a perfect home, the first one that you have. It can be, you start and you fix, you get it ready, and then you move on from there. So yeah, I think being young has an advantage too, in that you have a lot of energy and people and time and things that are not keeping you from being able to serve your clients in the best way that you can. So so don't feel like that's a negative thing, especially in the area of real estate. There are so many successful agents that are younger, so you don't have to be seasoned or older in order to be successful. And like I said, your client isn't going to know how many years you've been practicing. Like my first closing that I had was with a young student, or not student, she had a job, so she had just recently graduated. And did I tell her that she was my first transaction? Nope, I did not. But because I told her, that I was, like, and whenever I had questions, I was, I went to my principal broker and I'm like, what about? And they helped me get through, the minutia of things, but I still projected that era of confidence so that she felt like I knew what I was talking about. And I really did know the stuff after going through the training. So you'll get there. You'll get to that point where you feel good. And even now, after 3 years of practicing, I still come up with questions that I have to call my principal broker about. And I'm not going to know everything. And there's going to be things that you're going to have to learn more about. So being young just means that you have that much longer to be successful in this industry, which is pretty cool. So, all right. So let's look at some stats and data, because stats and data are going to become a really important talking point when you're speaking with clients. If you know stats and data, and you don't have to know them perfectly, but you can like latch onto like 1 or 2 things a week, those can become your talking points for when you do get in contact with people who are buyers and sellers. So this is some data about how buyers found their agent. Because the National Association of Realtors collects data every year on buyers and sellers' experiences with the real estate transaction. And this table shows the results from the survey of buyers from 2021. So this was just last year. What do these numbers tell us about where to find potential buyers? Okay, better way of saying it, which percentage is the highest?
The referrals from friends and family and anybody you can get a referral from, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at those statistics, 47% of all buyers found their agent through a friend, a family, a neighbor, a relative. So people that you know and that know you and that can trust you, right? That's where a lot of people are going to get their agent from. Almost half come from that category. So what does that tell you about where we should be spending our time and effort and energy into locating buyers? Especially now.
People we know.
What?
Yes. Like with people we know that like
Absolutely.
are like close. Yeah.
Yeah, the people that you know, the people that are close to you. Welcome, Amanda. Nice to see you. Wait, Amanda just popped in, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the question was asked in looking at these numbers, what do these numbers tell us about where to find potential buyers?
Definitely your sphere.
Your sphere, big time. What's the next biggest category, guys?
Repeat.
Repeat. So what does that mean? If it's repeat, what does that mean after you close a transaction?
Means you need to keep the relationship going.
Correct. It means you need to be top of mind. You still need to be dripping on them after you close a transaction, and view it not just as closing a transaction, but view it as this is a lifelong connection I'm going to have with these people. I want to be their realtor for life. I don't want to just get them to the closing table and tell them that. Tell them that when you're meeting with them for the first time, tell them that when you close, tell them that anytime you have a big celebration, right? Like, hey, I'm so happy for you. I want to be your realtor forever. Like,
And
no.
Command makes it really easy, because when you close the transaction, just put that date in the calendar as their closing anniversary, and then you can send them something really little. And
Yep.
those little things, and the fact that they remembered, because they would be going back and saying, oh shit, I knew it was in August, but I couldn't remember what day in August, and it looks like the realtor paid
Yep.
more attention than we did, you know?
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah, those home anniversaries are so beneficial, and you can even level it up. Let's talk, like, bring it up to the next level. Send them an equity analysis, like a CMA, at their home anniversary. Just be like, I just wanted you to know this is what you bought your house at. This is where it's at now. Like, boom, that's providing a valuable service to them that is going to let them know that you're there for them. The other thing that I tell my clients, I'm like, hey, if you have a leaky roof, or if you need a plumber recommendation, or anything that goes along with all things home related, call me first because I know people that are going to give you good service. And that's another thing that you guys could be building right now. Your grouping of people of contractors that you know and trust, because you're going to have people that are going to reach out to you to say, hey, who are the people that are XYZ. And in Command, we have access to a program called Homekeeper. They coordinate with them, and they have their own way of getting those vendors in. And so you can add vendors that you know and trust in there, and then it's a link that is sent out to your sphere. And so another way of automating something that is really valuable, but you want them to feel comfortable bringing house problems to you, so that way you can solve those house problems, because then you're the superstar. You're the one who is going above and beyond to provide them an experience as a realtor that is going to serve in the long run, because then you're that 13% of people who they're using again the next time they want to sell, right? And then at that time it's a twofer. You get a buy and you get a sell, and then the next time, and then the next time. So don't forget about that as a realm. Anything else that you guys want to talk about on this graph or this data?
My strongest lead actually right now is from my mother.
Oh.
She this guy, she knows she was working for him, and now she's like, no, you have to use my daughter. You can't use anybody else. And I'm like, well, thank you.
That's awesome. That's what you're going to want. And you're going to have people like that in your sphere. Reward them generously. Give them thank you notes. Even if it doesn't lead to a client, even if it doesn't lead to a transaction, even if you don't close, if somebody says, hey, I sent your name out to somebody who was mentioning home buying, be like, awesome. I am so thankful that you trust me enough to care for them. I will treat them, above an exemplary, because they're coming from you, and thank you for that. And then shoot them a card with a $25, gift in there, like a gift card to Amazon, to say thank you, because you're rewarding the behavior. You want them to be reaching out to you and referring the people that they come in contact with. And so the way you lay that groundwork throughout the whole entire transaction is you don't just bring it up at the end, you bring it up all the time. Like, hey, I'm here. If there's anybody that that needs, help buying, selling, or investing, send them my way. I'm definitely able to serve. And if I want you to know that I'm here for you, and I would love to do that. Just make that part of what you do throughout the transaction, talking to them. All right. Let's see. More buyers are finding their agent through referrals than any other source, which means the more people who know you are the agent, the more potential you must help them with a home purchase, and the more likelihood for referrals. All right, so I also want you to know that if you look at the survey, it confirms that a listing can be leveraged to generate buyer leads. So having for sale or open house signs, if you see that on there, for sale and open house signs, just having your name up on a listing is credibility to anybody else who's looking for, agents. If you have a listing, then usually people are like, oh, they have a listing. That means that they're going to be, somebody who knows their stuff. And so make sure that you're leveraging that with the open house signs and visiting open homes and doing things like that. Any other methods of lead generation and follow-up that we've covered in Ignite that align where buyers can find agents? How can buyers reach out to find agents that are not really covered here? You guys think of anything? I mean, you could throw on there door knocking. You can put in there FSBOs, like calling out to for sale by owners, or let's see. Hosting an event where people attend, and then you're there. Just brainstorming a little bit. All right, you guys want to know about sellers now? All right, let's see. How did sellers find their agents?
Searching.
Oh, searching.
I'd imagine a Google search would probably be the first place I'd start. Real estate agents in so-and-so area, just to see what comes up, because a lot of times what I'd be looking for would be reviews. So,
So how many of you have set up your Google business review on Google yet? Have you done that?
I have not.
I would put that on something that you can start doing just to lend credibility. It takes a couple weeks to get it going because you have to have a form that is requested that is sent to you or to your business location. So I would recommend setting up a Google business page, so that way if people do Google you, you can they can leave a referral, they can read those referrals, and the beautiful thing is you probably have cheerleaders in your life that are wanting you to succeed in real estate. You probably have friends or family members that are trying to encourage and spread the word about you being a real estate agent. They can be the first people that you reach out to, being like, hey, would you mind leaving a Google review about me as a real estate agent? At the beginning, I had a friend who's like, yeah, I would love to do that. I totally want to support you. And she went online and I got my first 5-star Google review from her, right? And she was also somebody that I helped practice I practiced my CMAs on her too. So
Doesn't it cost money to have a Google account like that though?
no, it's free.
It doesn't. The Google business is free.
When you, yeah, no, I don't believe so. All you have to do is verify that it is a, you just have to verify that it is like legitimately set up. So to be an LLC, that's probably what you're thinking about, right? To have a business name that is an LLC, and that you have to, don't make the mistake I made, and not do it through the state and the federal government. When you set up your LLC, you have to do both. So
Yeah, I was just wondering because my mother, she has her own business and it might be something like that, but she was having problems with Google like charging her a bunch of money. So I was like, oh no.
Oh. No, when I set up my Google, it was absolutely free. You're just setting up a Google business page. That's it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Absolutely free. And it gives your contact information. It links it to your website. It gives you like hours of operation, and then reviews. That's the most important part, because that's what people are going to look up when they look you up.
I guess that's like as a real estate agent or whatever. When you set up that business page, I know like you're saying you need like the BIN and then like the EIN or whatever. What is it gonna ask you when you do that Google page, like for a BIN or something, or no, not really?
You know, I don't remember. I wish I did.
Yeah, because I forget
mine.
too. Yeah.
I did mine 3 years ago, and I remember it being a process, and I remember it taking time, but it was definitely a very valuable thing because people do go to the web for credibility quite often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish I had the exact answer for you.
No, you're good.
Another good place is Facebook does reviews too. So if you have your business page, people can leave reviews on Facebook.
Yep, absolutely. And you have a friend group already on Facebook, and then you can ask them to like you, and then that gives more credibility, right, to your business with the likes that you get. So so there's lots of ways that you can leverage your sphere to help support you when you're first starting out. Okay, but let's look at how sellers found their agent. So again, this is from the National Association of Realtors data on sellers is quite like the data on buyers. What do these numbers tell us about where to find potential sellers?
The same thing through your family, friends, people you know.
Yep. Notice how it is that, I mean, the numbers are not quite as big for sellers as they are for buyers when it comes to referrals from friends or families, but they're still up there. It's almost half of your business is going to be coming from your referral, your sphere. Yeah. Okay, so like buyers, sellers are finding their agents through referrals. A higher percentage are using an agent they have bought or sold with before. This is a great reminder that follow-up isn't just for new leads and contacts. We should maintain relationships with our clients post-transaction for future business and for referrals. All right, is there any, well, I don't know what your session 12 was. Okay, so once you are post-transaction, like once you have your first closing, make sure that you set up in Command a 36 touch plan so that you can leverage that, set up clients on smart plans, and then it automatically sends out something every 2 weeks or every month that shows data for the area that they live in. And that, I think, is a really no-brainer way of being in touch with your clients that you don't even have to think about. You just go in and input, and I do this with all my open house met leads. I'll put them in, and then wherever that open house was that they were attending, even if I don't have their own home mailing address, I will put them on a drip campaign, a smart campaign, where they're receiving information about the neighborhood that they were looking at that open house in. So it's just like a really easy way of maintaining presence and being top of mind. That doesn't take more than, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minutes to get them in your Command and then set up smart plans. So smart plans are really, really beneficial. Okay, any other ahas or questions or things that that you found that really helped in looking at the data and the stats from the section?
Not necessarily the data, but definitely the home anniversary CMA. That was a good one for me.
Yeah, I love that one.
I'm a big stats gal, so I always like the stats to back up the choices of each action.
Absolutely. Okay, any other last minute things before we move on to the next one? Okay, next page. Okay, as you've been experiencing Keller Williams, they have a defined model and system for everything you need to do in real estate. And I'm not kidding, it's literally for every step. They have a system in place, but it is pretty awesome and comes with a CRM, which is great. Let's see, KW has its own language like leads and contacts, which you are kind of familiar with. But when we talk about opportunities, that's the little handshaking thing on Command. And so when you click there, you're going to have to create opportunities that let you know where your leads are in the process. So it helps to define your sales pipeline of business. So it tracks all your potential deals or transactions as they move through your sale pipeline. It's the best place to put in your A, B, and C potential clients into the opportunities pipeline and then to track their progress. And it's also necessary for when you have your first transaction because that's how you get paid. So you have to make sure that you know this well. You will use this component of Command regularly because you have to have an opportunity. So the nice thing about this is they have, I know it's showing just buyers and leases on the screen, but they also have a seller part too. So like listings, buyers, leases. So all of that is in your Command ability to look. You can see on the screen when you open up Command opportunities that it will track your clients from the cultivate stage all the way to the closing and to getting paid. Opportunities even projects your possible total income in your sales pipeline, which is kind of motivating. I love that. Okay, so make sure to learn more about using opportunities and check out your Command business on Connect. So, any of you done an opportunity yet? Anyone? No? It might be fun to
Mine started, but they are just in there. They're not anything that I have like going through like ending stages, just the very beginnings.
Stages, that's okay. That's called building your pipeline. And that's essential because throughout your business, you're going to have all levels of the beginning stages. And as they progress and move forward, you know, sometimes just knowing that it's like right now, my Command, if I was to pull it up, I have, you know, probably about 30 under cultivate, right? And it's all those people that I've met that I know are going to buy eventually, but just haven't yet. And so I'm cultivating, I'm dripping on them. I'm working through them. But then as soon as I'm moving into the next part with an appointment or active, and then we're under contract, then it just kind of, it goes quick. So don't feel bad that you have just things in the beginning stages. That means that in 3 to 6 months, your business is going to be exploding because you're building that pipeline early and bringing in all the things that you need to bring in. All right, so let's talk about the next section, which is classifying able, ready, and willing. Oops, I went too far. 1 second. Okay, you probably heard the phrase ready, willing, and able, or in many contexts. In real estate, we think about this in a little bit of a different order. We have to say able, ready, and willing when we're classifying our potential buyers and sellers. Why do we start with able first?
Well, you don't want to be necessarily showing a bunch of houses to people who haven't been pre-approved yet, or you don't even know have been pre-approved. So you want to make sure they're actually able to afford a house before you actually show them anything.
Yep, absolutely, for sure. We have to start with the able, because somebody might really want to buy a house, but if they aren't having the credit scores to do that, it's impossible, right? So it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of their time, it's a waste of the seller's time. So you want to make sure that you're working with able first. So even though all leads and contacts have potential, they're not all going to close on a home next month. Some contacts may not be able to either buy or sell at this time. A potential buyer might need to save money for a down payment or work on their credit worthiness to be able to obtain a mortgage. A seller might not be able to sell because they do not have the full rights to the property or have non-mortgage liens on the property. So we start with able so that we can devote the right amount of time and resources for each potential client based on their needs and where they are. So remember, the first C in our WI 4C2ES is customers always come first. And don't discount those that aren't able right away. Drip on them and keep top of mind with them. Make it automated so that you're not putting forth a lot of time and energy into that, but still regularly reach out. I met somebody at an open house. It was in the first couple months that I was hosting open houses, and 2 years later, they called me up and they're like, "Hey, we're ready." And I'm like, "Excellent." And they had been in my command opportunities in that first column forever, 2 years. And all of a sudden I was like, "Okay, great, we're ready now." So they switched from the ready and the willing to the able part. And that happens regularly if you're top of mind with people. So keep that in mind. Okay, next screen. Can I have a volunteer reader to read this one for us from the MREA, Millionaire Real Estate Agent book? Amanda, would you mind reading this one? I can't tell. Her screen's dark. All right, Kevin, it's you again.
Focus becomes increasingly possible in direct proportion to how clear you are about what you want, when you want it, and what you must do to get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this quote doesn't just apply to us as agents, it applies to everyone. When buyers and sellers know what they want, when they want it, and what they need to get it, then our role as agents is clear. Help them find the property they desire, and then you can close the transaction. So we're going to cover how to know when a contact is able, ready, and willing to buy or sell. So that's what we're going to focus on next. Boom. All right, so we've got able, ready, and willing. So the thing to remember when you're speaking with any lead is you have to come from a mindset of curiosity. You're going to be asking so many questions, and the heart of that question is always why? Why? And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 whys to help them to get to the place where they're really understanding their motivation, their timing, their everything. So when we are determining the able, ready, and willing of a potential client, we emphasize come from curiosity. Why do you think we stress that? Anyone?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
It's okay. Why do we stress come from curiosity when we're talking about able, willing, and ready?
I guess I don't understand the question. Like curiosity.
When you come from curiosity, you're just willing to listen to what they are wanting rather than like being like, again, like I said earlier, just like putting your beliefs on them, like, oh, they're not ready, or they're not, they like, you might be like in your head, like, oh, these people might be looking at to buy, you know, a first time house when really they're moving up and want to buy, you know, like a bigger house, or they might be downsizing and want a smaller house. So if you're just, you know, curious, that's going to help you be, you know, be asking the right questions to find out what it is that you can do for them.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. Any other insights into that one? Why we come from curiosity?
I mean, I'm assuming that's when we're gonna get most of the information of like what they're looking for, what they want, kind of thing.
That's where you're going to get a huge bit of your information. Absolutely. That it's the way for you to know what they need so you can meet those needs. It's also going to build rapport with them, because who doesn't like talking about themselves? When you're showing a lot of interest in your clients by asking them what they want and what they need, then they're going to feel like they can trust you more. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what the definition is, because I know that that's in your worksheet right there. How do you define able, ready, and willing? So if somebody is able, the potential client is financially and legally capable of completing a transaction now. Like that means if we were to find a house, they would be able to write an offer, right? That they're legally and financially capable. That means that they have the money, they have the funds, they're good to go. That's an able client. Ready is a potential client that is motivated and prepared to make strategic decisions now. So they're not quite all the way able, but they're motivated and prepared to start making the decisions that are gonna lead them to that able category. Whether that is saving more money for a down payment, whether that is getting their credit score up, whether that's reducing their debt, any of those things that they're willing, right? They want to do it. They're motivated to do that. They're just not quite there yet. And willing, that would be potential client is eager to buy or sell or both. You'll find a lot of willing clients out there. They come to a lot of open houses. They want to do the home buying process. They just are not quite there yet. Okay, so using this framework to help us differentiate buyers and sellers who will be doing business with in the next 14 days from buyers and sellers we need to continue to cultivate. How can we use these tools or this knowledge to help us differentiate the two? Those that are ready versus those that aren't.
Asking questions.
Definitely. Anyone else?
I'm going to be still listening, but I'm not going to be able to jump in and answer here for like the next 15 minutes or so, probably.
All right, thanks Ashley for telling us. All right, so this is the starting point for the ABC framework, or you might think of this in terms of the cultivate phase in your opportunities pipeline and command. So these would be the people that you're cultivating, those that are willing. All right, before you guys had a section in session 11 where you convert possible business into profitable business, and they covered how to convert leads to appointments. And then in session 12, how to nurture relationships. That's, I believe, what was yesterday. You covered staying in a relationship with contacts who are not ready to transact. So how do we know whether our potential client is ready to close for an appointment or close for a continued relationship? How can you know that? Any ideas? How do you know if somebody's ready, willing, and able now?
By asking the appropriate questions. I mean, if they're ready, willing, and able, you should be in a contract by then, you know?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and determining who's ready, willing, and able versus who you need to just drip on versus not. All right. So when we use the ready or able, ready, and willing framework to classify potential buyers, those are your A categories, your B categories, and your C's. We call them the ABCs, right? And you want to focus a lot of your time and energy and effort onto the A categories, and then focus, the next section is to focus your B clients in getting them to the A section. So providing them contact with a lender, putting them in contact with a credit reformation specialist that can help them get to the point where they do have good credit, right? Or give them advice on how to seek out that information. So your focus then should be getting your B clients into the A column, and then your C clients dripping on them until you're able to move them to the B column until they're ready to move along the transactions. So when we have someone who is able, ready, and willing, and motivated to do business soon, those are A buyers and sellers. Our number one goal is to secure the appointment and close with a signed buyer's agreement or listing agreement. So when you have an A client, number one goal is when you find a lead that is an A lead, you want to get into an appointment as soon as you can, right? So that you can secure that contract, so that they can be so that you're their person to help them through the transaction. Our B buyers and sellers are either unable, not ready, or not willing right now. They may be motivated and something needs to happen first. So our goal with B buyers and sellers is with frequency and intensity using touch plans and MOFRs. You guys know what a MOFR is? It's an acronym, and we love to use acronyms here at KW. MOFR, make offer for immediate response. So that would have some sort of call to action, like call me to get a CMA on your house, right? If you have people in your sphere right now that have a house that they own, you should be reaching out to them as part of your command homework, or not command, Ignite homework, and then saying, hey, I'm learning how to do CMAs. Let me run one for you. And then you're practicing a skill, and you're also providing them a service. And even if they're not ready right away, they are, you're getting your name out there. So and the people that know you will then say, oh, hey, so-and-so is a real estate agent, when they find somebody who they want to refer to you. So again, that's how the business happens, but you have to be finding them and reaching out with an offer that calls the person to action. So make offer for immediate response. And then your C buyers and sellers, they have no immediate need to transact. These are the perfect candidate for long-term nurtures and the 36 touch plan that you guys developed before. So any ahas about this last section? Anything that you didn't know about before? Pretty.
I guess I don't know how to like the connecting like on command. I haven't really gone into it yet because I'm so new. So
Yeah, because you're brand new.
I'm gonna go on. Yeah, I'm gonna go on there, check it out.
Yeah, check it out. You can even practice and put your parents in. My parents are in my command.
Okay.
They're part of my sphere. I put them in, and then I set them up on a smart plan, and then they get a mailing every month that just goes out to them. And they live in Arizona. So
See, I didn't know they mailed things out to them like that.
yeah,
so
we're a nationwide, we're a worldwide company, so you can set up a smart plan anywhere in the world. Yeah, so the practice with the people in your family first until you feel comfortable to move forward. And then because all of that's going to gain you skills. All right, moving on to the next section. Are you guys good, or do you want like a 15-minute break or a 10-minute break or something? Because we're almost ready to move into last section. Let's do that. Let's take 5 minutes and then just take a little bit of a break so you guys can get up, go to the bathroom, do what you need to. See you in 5. Okay, guys, that was 5 minutes. So let's go ahead and pop back on. I'm gonna get started. I can't tell if you guys are there or not, because everybody's screen is blank. Okay. But in the interest of not wasting time, let's just jump right in. All right.
An emergency client call I had to take, unfortunately, so.
Those happen often. So way to be a good agent, Amanda.
Like right on the cusp of, it's contract stuff, it's just, yeah, we're important.
Well, it's exciting that you're right on the cusp. That's great.
Yeah.
Keep it up, keep it up. Okay, so let's move on to qualifying buyers and sellers. That's going to be our next step. So this is the actual like rubber to the road things that you can use to help you utilize what we've been talking about. So with the able, ready, and willing framework in hand, we're almost ready to qualify potential buyers and sellers. What we need now are the questions and the conversation starters. So here you go, Kevin, this is what you were hoping for, right? Those scripts, like how can we do this, that are going to help us determine who is able, ready, and willing. So in this section, we're going to cover how to use the buyer lead sheet and also the pre-listing questionnaire on our qualification tools. Okay. So that's why we're getting to that point. Why qualify? Because it's a win-win. We've got a document, we've got a checklist, and we want you to abide by the fair housing regulations because it's a really important thing to do so you don't get sued and because it treats everybody equally. So, all right. So, whoops, hang on. In this last section, we started with the win-win of qualification. Our potential clients win because we provide them the right value at the right time, and we win because we get to focus on our attention on helping clients who are ready to buy or sell. Based on what we covered in the previous section about segmenting your database, what might be some advantages of qualifying leads and contacts? Would be an advantage when you segment out your database. Not sure what you guys talked about with that, but like qualifying like when the person has a timeline, if they're a hot lead, a cold lead, if they are somebody that needs time. I don't know, not sure exactly what you talked about. All right, I'll just move on to explaining since we don't have some information about this, that's okay. So when we are qualifying our leads and contacts, that can help us better engage with follow-up. So our B buyers, remember those that want to buy but are not able to, often need different messages such as how to save more for a down payment or information about changes in interest rates that could impact their buying power, right? So we're able to specify the information that we're sending to them to help them where they're at. Our A buyers might need to know what listings are available right now in their neighborhood that fit their home wish list. Meanwhile, our C buyers might be interested in potential changes in current neighborhood, like new restaurants or shopping options or road constructions. So we can make our touches more meaningful and valuable to our database by matching the message with what their current real estate need is, okay? So knowing somebody that is ready, willing, and able, you're going to be shooting them properties, right? Hey, this property just came on the market and let's go see it, right? Somebody who is in the process of, looking, keep an eye on those interest rates and be like, oh, hey, interest rates just went down. Let's bring, let's say this is a really good thing. Reach out to a lender. Here's some information, or, just getting them in touch with what they need at that time. Okay. So we use the same buyer qualification process for all of our buyers and the same seller qualification process for all of the sellers. And we do this for a couple of reasons. Number one, it helps you to be consistent because once you have those systems in place, it becomes automatic. And for number two, we do this because if you use them across the board for all your sellers and all your buyers, you're making sure that you're always in compliance with the Fair Housing Act. That means that you're not treating one buyer in a different way than you're treating another buyer. So somebody can't come back and sue you, say, for discrimination, right? You didn't do this. If you have a policy or a a method that you use every single time with every single buyer, then nobody can accuse you of treating somebody differently based on their based on prejudice. All right, so remind agents that documenting your qualification system and having a checklist makes it easier to be consistent and ensures that you will provide the client with the same high-level service consistently. A documented system can also be a lifesaver if there's ever a question about your practices in the Federal Fair Housing Act. Okay. Any questions about that? No, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? It makes sense. You want to give the right information to the right buyers and sellers, and you also want to make sure that you're doing it consistently across the board. Having those systems in place, what to say, what to do every time, is really going to help you. All right, so here is our next slide. Yay! This is so beneficial. Having this that I color coded mine just because I'm visual, and so I had a for buyers they're blue and for sellers they're green, and so I knew every time that I would be able to pull the blue or the green form and then be able to have this checklist every single time that I'm doing a qualification. So here is a sample. Feel free to add to it, to modify it, to change it, to make it your own, knowing that it's probably just going to be seen by you. So it needs to be something that you feel comfortable with and something that you're going to use. All right, so would anybody like to role play with me? You're going to be a buyer and I'm going to be the agent. I have a volunteer who's willing. It's really easy.
I'll go.
Hey, all right, thanks, Amanda. Okay.
Welcome.
What?
Okay.
Okay, so hi, Amanda. I'm excited to help you find your new home. I'd like to start with some questions to make sure that I can give you a 5-star experience. So let's start with some basics. What's the best email and phone number to reach you?
Amanda.niskanen@kw.com.
Wonderful. Do you have a phone number in case I need to text you something?
Well, I sure do. I assume you wanted me to be very literal with this.
Well, we're just practicing, but it's also a good idea to try to capture as much of that essential information that you can in the beginning, right? So if they're hesitant and they only want to give one and not the other, just say, hey, there's a reason why I need this, right? Because there's some things that come only through email, and then there's some ways that I can reach out to you this way. So the more information I have, the better. And I always tell my people, and I'm not going to sell your information. This is specifically so that I can be a better agent for you. So,
well, thank you for clarifying that, because most people are very apprehensive.
Okay.
It's one of those many buyers that are very apprehensive to giving all of my information out.
Understand.
Steal my identity.
Yeah, I completely get that, but I promise you're not going to be spammed with a whole bunch of information. It'll only be essential things that are coming to help you with the selling buying process. Okay, so thank you for that information. What are the best times that I can reach out to you? What works for you?
Afternoons are definitely best. Anytime after school, 3:30 to 5 o'clock ish.
Cool. And you said after school, so I'm assuming that you have children?
I do have children.
Oh, that's fun. And then you can go into a little side note of like, hey, let's get the kids' ages.
Yeah, you can expand on that if you got kids or
the why,
the neighborhoods with. You can focus on good school neighborhoods. You can really run with that.
Down to the why. What is their motivation? Like if they have kids and they probably want to be in a certain school district, and then you can say, hey, is that an important thing? Do you
need to upgrade or expand or
Yep, exactly. Okay, so another question that I want to ask you is, has any other agent taken you out and shown you any properties?
No, we look online. Zillow's our favorite app to look at properties because everyone posts their homes on Zillow.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I want you to know that Zillow actually gets their information from the MLS. And so they're not actually the most accurate bit of information, but if you'd like, I can set you up on a prospecting data that's going to be coming directly from the MLS, which will supersede Zillow.
Really? You have a source that's even more accurate than Zillow?
Yes, I have the source that is the original source that Zillow gets our info from. So,
well, yes, I would love that.
Hooray, awesome. Okay, and then I'm excited to be the agent that's going to take you to the properties that we see. Is there anyone who anyone else who's helping you purchase the home?
Well, I have a husband, but the decision making is more like a 70-30 basis.
That's fun. Happy wife, happy life, right? All right, so
I can't tell if anybody else is getting amusement out of this because their mics are muted,
I'm
but
muted.
at least you're
Okay,
laughing.
no, it's all practice, right? It's the practice. It's helping us get comfortable with it. Okay,
Okay.
so let's go ahead and add their contact information too, so that I can start sharing listings with both of you. So would you mind sharing your husband's contact information with me?
Yeah, here's his first name and last name and phone number and social security number and address and
Awesome. Perfect.
all the
Okay.
details.
All right, because I want to help you find the home that fits the needs and the needs of anyone else who's going to be living with you. So who's going to be living in the home with you?
Well, I legally have to bring my offspring with me, so 4 total.
4 total. Excellent. All right. So we can definitely find the right fit for you and your family of 4. So how long have you been looking for a home?
Passively, I think everyone likes to pull up apps on their phone and stuff. As far as seriously looking, only the last couple months, but I don't know if we're financially able or not. I've spoken with a bank before, but they always tell me that it's just, unless I left my honey and married a lawyer, it's probably not going to happen for a long time.
Gotcha. Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that you really want to buy a home, but you're not sure if you can qualify. Would it be okay if I
Yes.
was to put you in touch with a lender that could help you overcome those barriers that some first-time
That would be
homeowners might have?
fantastic.
Fabulous. Okay, great. So that'll be one of the first things that you can expect to come from me right after we're done with this call. I'll send it out to the email addresses that you provided, so you can get
Well,
in
thank
touch
you.
and
That's
start going.
wonderful.
Great. Okay. And I'm curious to know why you want to move.
Well, we've got kids and, we got a dog and we live in a 1-bedroom apartment and it's just a little cramped for our family of 4
you.
and a Dane pit dog and 6 bunnies and our cat. And, we like to collect animals and we just need a little bit more space.
Yes, I can tell. It sounds to me like you're bursting at the seams and you guys need a place to spread out. So
Yeah.
that's a great reason to be wanting to be in the market. So I do have just a couple more questions that are going to help me understand your needs. Are you renting right now?
I am. We are renting.
Okay, so do you know when your lease is up?
It's a month to month. So,
that's fabulous.
so basically every month.
Yeah, so great. So that lets me as the agent know, that they can be ready to go if
At
they
any
qualify
time.
at any time. Yep. If their lease is not up till September or, in the summer, then they're not a client that you need to be putting your time and effort into right away. They're a client that you want to wait for until it's a
Right,
couple of months, until about 4 months before they're ready. Then
Or
you
if
start.
they do have a lease on the flip side of that and it's going to be up in a month and a half, then they're going to be wanting to get going because
It
they don't
takes-
want to have to
takes-
renew it for another year.
Exactly, because it takes 30 days in escrow if they're using a lender, so at least 30. So 30 to 45 days in escrow when you're going through the loan process. So really, if their lease is up in a month and a half, you need to find them a home in the next week. So that's what it comes down to. So you need to be quick on that one. Okay, let's imagine that you said that you owned a home. I said,
So
do you need to?
Say a lease is coming up, if like the person isn't like pre-qualified or anything and they don't know if they're like able to qualify for a loan, like how long do you think like the whole process like takes?
It
To
kind of,
to get qualified for a loan is just a couple days. It depends
Yeah.
on the
Okay.
lender really, but you'd really, it really depends on how quickly they're able to input their information to the lender, because the lender requires specific information for them to do a soft pull on their credit and to see their credit worthiness. And once that lender gives you the okay of like, hey, here's their price point, here's what they qualify for, then for you at that point, it's just a matter of finding them a home and winning them a home.
so theoretically, if they're financially able and, it's good to go, it should take, about 48 hours at least, like she said, depending on the skill of the lender. Goes
Yep.
really quick.
Yeah, it does. It can be quick. So if you have somebody whose lease is about to be up, you want to get them in touch with the lender right away. So you would be like, boom, here's my list of lenders. Reach out to all of them, because you want to shop around. You want to get the right person for what you need, and then go from there. So yeah, and it really, like, I know some of my lenders can give an answer within 24 hours. Yeah. And then if she answered the question and said, hey, I own, instead of rent, I could say, do you need to sell your current home before you buy? And ask that question. And then if she says yes, then I would say, hey, have you signed a listing agreement with an agent to sell your home? Because again, I'm trying to gather information. If they've worked with somebody else, if they have a contract with somebody else. And then if the answer was no to that question, I would say, when would be a good time for us to get together, so that so that I can give you a free market analysis on what's going on in your home. So that would be something that you're trying to secure the appointment, but you're also getting information about whether they're ready at that time. So
Oh, their house, yeah, okay.
yeah, so these are great questions to have. Next slide. Whoops. My computer's going really slow here. All right. I feel like, okay. Thank you for sharing. Oh, and actually we're still not done. There's way more questions, but since Amanda's muted her screen, Kevin, you're on. I'm gonna ask you
No, I'm
some
good. Yeah, I'm good.
questions. Okay,
I'm
cool.
good.
So you're gonna be my qualifying buyer. All right. So are you planning on paying cash for your new home, or will you be getting a mortgage?
I'd probably be doing a mortgage.
Okay. So have you already been approved by a lender or pre-approved?
I have not.
Okay, well, great. Would you like some lender recommendations? Because I have some great people that I've worked with before and know and trust.
Yeah, no, for sure. Please do.
Wonderful. Okay, if the answer was yes, have you already been pre-approved by a lender? I'd be like, that's fantastic. Who are you working with? What amount have they pre-approved for you? Right, those would be the questions that I would ask if the answer was yes. My next question would be, what is your down, or what will your down payment be? Because that question is going to give
yeah, 75,000 something. Like that.
75,000. Great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That means that you're probably in the 20% down category. That's great. You have that much money saved up. And so I want to thank you for helping me get to know how to plan to buy with you. So when we're looking for listings, what price are you going to be comfortable with? What's your price point? Where would you like to land?
Wait, can you repeat that? Sorry. I was like,
Yeah,
writing
so
down.
when we're looking for new homes for you to buy, what is the price point that you want to kind of land at? How much you want to
like 400,000, somewhere around there.
Excellent. Okay. Know that that's kind of the beginning price point in the Portland metro area. So we'll try to find things in the 400,000 range, but definitely able to help you with that. I know that there is a lot of inventory that's out there for that. All right. Is there anyone else who will be involved in your home buying decision?
Well, yeah, we were the spouse, I guess. We were going with the spouse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going along with that.
Gotcha. Okay, and then on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 meaning you must buy as quickly as possible, and 1 meaning that you're not sure you will buy at all, where do you fall on that spectrum?
Like 7.
A 7. Okay, what would make it to be a 10 for you that you're ready to go right now?
Finding the right house and getting approved by the lender for
getting
the
approved
amount
by
we
a
need.
lender. Gotcha. So I can help you overcome that obstacle with the lender pre-approval. So all you have to do is just reach out to those lenders. I'll let them know that you're coming, and they'll give you the 5-star experience that I always provide to my clients too. And then you can go from there. All right. And then you'd say, when do you need to be in your new home?
I don't know. It's like when my lease is over, because I'm
when
renting
your
right
lease
now.
is up. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So when is that? When is your lease up?
In like a month.
Okay. So we need to be on it right away. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I'm excited to help you buy a home. In order to help you find the perfect home, all we need to do is set up an appointment so I can help you get your home in time. What is a good day and time for you? Right,
And like the evenings, like
there you go. You
3,
can even
5.
say, you can even throw out, because you've time blocked, right? You know what times you have in your schedule for your appointments. You're like, I have this week, Thursday at 2 and Friday at 6, right? Whatever those
Mhm.
times are that you blocked out, and you give them the choices, like which one works best for them, and then you can go from there. But you want to secure the appointment if they're an A buyer. Probably
Yeah,
would
yeah.
want to secure the appointment if they're a C buyer, because that would not be the best use of your time because they're not able or willing.
Yeah, they're just window shopping.
Exactly. They're just window shopping. And then those people, you're going to provide the information to help them get to the place where they're an A buyer and they're able.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
That's the plan. Thanks for being a guinea pig and going through that with me, Kevin and Amanda. I appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah, you do.
Did it help you to see kind of how to role play a little bit when you're talking with clients about that?
Yeah. No,
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions?
I did have a question, but it's kind of escaped me. What was I gonna ask? Wait, where are you located at? Are you in Portland area?
I'm
then?
in Sunset Corridor. Yeah. So in
Okay,
the
okay.
Hillsborough. Yeah. Where are you at?
Okay. I'm in Eugene right now.
Eugene. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
the Eugene.
Cool.
I'm in the office right now, actually, the Eugene office.
I am too.
Okay. So yeah, I guess like our price points are different, and like I keep hearing that the interest on like the loans or whatever, like the home loans or mortgages, they're like higher than obviously they were before.
Yeah.
What's that around right now? Is it like the same in your area that is like in mine, as in mine, or
Well,
no?
yeah. So those rates are national rates, right? They're not
Okay.
divisional. So they're set by Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, right? And so knowing what those rates are, you can refer clients to the expert on the rates, and that would be the lender, right? So
Okay.
you can say, hey, I know that rates change every day, they fluctuate. The expert would be the lender to reach out to talk about when you should lock in, when you should not. You can even share at that point, like say, hey, I know that there is, I can share what I've been hearing from, my expert, trainings, when I'm like hearing from economic forecasts and such. And what they're saying is that we're now approaching an era where we have interest rates in the 6s and 7s. That's where they're probably going to live for a bit, just because the rates that we were experiencing the last 3 years were not a realistic rate for the market, not sustainable. And they were actually, the government was the one that set that rate. And so it was kind of like a unicorn moment of magicalness.
Yeah, because it was like what, like
His-
that was like 3%, like 2 point something, or like
yeah,
too
there
low.
were some 2s and some 3s, but what was happening during that time, according to economists, is that governments were buying mortgage-backed bonds that were keeping those rates low because the government was buying where the market wasn't able to correct. And so with the government intervening and stepping in so that there was not a global economic collapse of our economy during COVID, they made those rates very, very, very low. But now what we're seeing with the rates is they're being affected by what's happening in the market. And right now what's happening in the market is really high inflation. With the really high inflation, it means that we're needing to, or the government is needing to utilize the tools that they have to try to bring down that inflation rate. And one of the tools that they have to do that is to raise the mortgage interest rates, which is what they're doing. And so that's why you've seen from the summer until now that mortgage rates have just gone up and up and up. So we're seeing
What is it at right now? I guess I haven't really paid,
like I said, it
been-
changes every day. I got email
Okay.
notification this morning, and one of my lenders was like, hey, we're like in the 6.7s. And I was like, well, that's great. But
Okay.
but again, that could change by tomorrow. It really fluctuates on a day-to-day basis. So then again, you would refer them to the expert when it comes to mortgage rates, and that is the mortgage. Yeah. You can
Okay,
give
yeah.
generalities. You can talk about what you've learned about the economy and what economic forecasts are. And Chris Suarez gave an amazing speech earlier today about what's projected for 2023. Use those moments where industry experts are speaking to you so that you can pass that same information on.
Where do you find like that, like where?
There's an
Like-
economic report that's available online. I mean, business journals, things like that. Those are
Like
all
when
there.
like, when you said like when Chris spoke, like was that
Yeah.
just for your guys, was your office, or was that like on?
No, he
on
was
through
Zoomed.
Zoom?
It was the whole Experience Brokerage Network. So it was Zoomed. So you could have listened to the whole thing. So
How do you get, where do you find like when he's talking or stuff like
every
that?
week, your brokerage should send you touch points for what's happening during that week, trainings, meetings, whatnot, and then
Okay.
you can tune in on there. So so know that your brokerage has that. You can even go to your front desk and be like, hey, what's happening this week? And they'll tell you. You can you know, reach out to your growth coordinator person in your office. I don't know who that is, but
Okay.
they would be able to put you in place with those opportunities, because when those things happen, soak it in, because then you get the expert knowledge that you can then share with your clients to make you a better person.
Yeah, that's what I was like wondering how to get that. So thanks.
Yep, of course, of course, of course. Okay, so we have role play, but there's really just two of you, and all I can see is Kevin. I don't know if Ashley's still here, but let's go ahead and talk about the last little bits. Okay, so at this point, you've uncovered your A, B, and C buyers. When you uncover a buyer who's not able, ready, and willing right now, that indicates that they're a future transaction you need to stay in relationship with. This is when you're going to use your touch plans to nurture that relationship. And you'll learn more about that in the next section, win the buyer. But basically, it'll be a way to communicate with your database. That means for every person that you have in your database, you're gonna have 19 connections. So 4 touches where you call them every quarter. You're going to have a monthly email or a newsletter or a market report or a video or a smart plan you set them up on that just drips to them every month. You're going to have 2 touches where you're direct mailing them something such as a magnet or a calendar or a printed market report, etc. You're going to have an annual event or a party, and that's what a 19 connect plan is. The 36 connect one is 4 touches where you have telephone calls where you call them once a quarter, 26 touches where you give them a bi-weekly email offering some information that's of value. You have events and get-togethers 2 in the year, or promotional direct mailings such as a magnet or calendar. So those are 36 to convert. So you want to at least be reaching out with the people in your database frequently, at least 19 times. But ideally, you want to try to get as much as you possibly can. In fact, the latest data from our market, from our KW was saying that whatever was working in the past, you really have to even double up what you were doing before to make sure that you're that much more top of mind, because people really are wanting to be selective with who their agents are. So, especially in a shifting market. Okay. One thing that I do is pop buys. So I'll make a little craft or gift. And in the beginning, it was super easy. Like I found some leaf-shaped cookies from Trader Joe's, and I put them in a little baggie with a little thing that said something with a pun that was like, hey, I just want you to, I don't even remember what the pun was, but it was something about fall and leaves, and I'm thankful for you. And I delivered them to the houses of my clients. And I was like, hey, just wanted to let you know that I'm here if you have anybody that you need help, you know, that you want to refer for buying, selling, or investing, right? Or I'm just here to check and see how things are going in your life. You know, things like that, that just let people know that you care about them and that you're in it for more than just a transaction. You'll be with them in the long haul. Okay. Any questions about that? I mean, that's a lot. And it feels overwhelming. I know I felt overwhelmed when I saw that. I was like, what? I have to reach out to all these people this many times in a year? That seemed like so much. But it's really doable if you're consistent with your lead generation time. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we qualify seller leads with a pre-listing questionnaire that helps us build relationships with 6 connecting questions that classify our potential sellers as A, B, or C. So before that was for buyers, let's talk about what we would do for sellers. So our pre-listing questionnaire is going to also help us create a pre-listing packet that wins the listing agreement by focusing on the seller's motivation. All right, so similar to the buy lead sheet, the pre-listing questionnaire looks like this. And it helps us connect them. Kevin, you up for some role playing again? Or should I
Yeah,
ask
yeah, I'm
Nancy?
good, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
okay,
got
let's
it.
do it.
Don't worry about it.
All right, so here we go. Hey, Kevin, I'd like to just take about 5 minutes of your time to ask some important questions that'll help me provide you with the best service. So let's start by making sure I have your correct contact information. Is it 555-5555?
Yep,
Okay, cool. And the best email address is to reach you at gmail.com?
yep.
Which is a preferred method for you? Do you like email or text or calls?
Text.
Text. Okay, perfect. And then you're keeping note of all these things as you're talking to them
Yeah.
on the phone, right? Okay, so perfect. What's the address of the home that you're interested in selling?
3375 West 13th Avenue.
Okay, thank you. That's the first thing that I need to start your market analysis. I just have a few more questions, starting with how'd you hear about me?
I heard from a friend.
Awesome. Awesome. And I could even ask, hey, is it somebody that I know? What's their name? And then, see if they're, and then that way I can then reach out to that friend separately and be like, hey, thanks for
Yeah.
sending me the referral. Here's a $25 gift card to Amazon, and keep those referrals coming. Okay, anyway,
Yeah,
so
hell
back to this. May I shift focus a bit to focus more on you? Where are you planning on moving to?
yeah. Portland.
Great. So what is motivating you to move right now?
Just trying to do something new.
Cool. Okay. And how soon do you need to be there?
Like 2 months.
2 months. Okay. So thank you for sharing those details. If we sell your home in the next 30 days, will that pose a challenge for you or anyone in your household?
Wait. Oh, maybe I should have switched it to longer. Maybe
No,
like
it's
6
okay. You
months.
can keep doing it. I mean,
Okay,
we're going to
okay.
get an answer like that eventually, right? 2 months. Yep. If I sell it in the next 30 days, is that going to be a problem for you?
No, not if we have another home ready over there. ready to
Okay,
go.
so what I'm hearing you say is that you need to have a home ready to move into. Okay, so the challenge is that you need to have something to go to. So would you like me to help you with that process as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. There are some programs that are available for you. I'm not sure if they will work for you, but I do want to let you know about them. There's the Knock Home Sale program that allows you to buy first and then sell. Does that sound something you'd be interested in?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you could just give them the information and the resources that you have. Okay. If there was a challenge for them to sell, then you could say that's helpful to know. What would happen if your home did not sell and we weren't able to sell it right away?
I wouldn't move to Portland yet. I'd wait.
Yeah, if we weren't able to sell your home in 30 days, or if it
Yeah, I
didn't
would.
at all.
Yeah, I'd have to wait to move to Portland, I guess. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. But it won't like cause you like a job loss or something, whatever else.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
no.
so that's what you're trying to get to. You're trying to get to their main motivation as to why they need to move, and
Oh,
then
because like some people are getting a new job like in Portland or something.
exactly. And if they're not
I
able to
gotcha.
sell their home, does that just mean inconvenience for them, or does that mean like, oh my gosh, they're desperate to sell their home because unless they sell their home, they can't do X, Y, Z?
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for helping me understand your situation. Tell me, do you have a number in mind that you would like to list your home for?
I do not. No, I don't know what
Okay.
the value is at right now.
Which is kind of rare because usually sellers, before they call a listing agent, they've looked up Zillow and they have the Zillow estimate and
Oh,
all the
okay.
things that
Okay. I was like,
come
I
along
don't
with
know.
it. But it is good to know what they're thinking. So that way you can go in with what their expectations are. And you can either be that voice of, hang on, that expectation is unreasonable, or hey, we can meet or
Or we
exceed
can do
that
better.
expectation.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
asking that question is pretty helpful. And then one more question about the home. How much do you owe on the property currently?
So like 100,000.
100,000. Okay, gotcha. So that means that in order for them to make, like, that question is important, because if they owe enough, or if they owe too much and they can't sell for more to even cover realtor fees or to pay off their mortgage, then it may not be the best time for them to buy or to sell. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, to like, okay.
Yeah. So you want to like do the math in your head about figuring what that is. And I would even, if I was on that conversation and I just got the address of their home, I would go onto RPR and look it up and be like, their home is valued at blah, blah, blah. And then that way I have a better idea of what we're talking about. So when I'm getting this data and this information from them, it's helping me better meet their needs and then know what their expectations are. All right, cool. I'll be sending you a packet of information in 24 hours. Will you take a few minutes to review it before we meet?
Yeah, I can do
Okay.
that.
Cool. Speaking of meeting, what's a better time for you? I've got Mondays at 1 and Thursdays at 4.
This is Thursdays at 4. This is Thursday at 4.
Okay, I booked you in for that time. Do you have any questions for me before we meet?
No.
Okay, and will all of the decision makers be there on Thursday at 4?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they can be if they need to be.
Okay, cool. And that's an important question, because if not all the decision makers are there, you're really wasting your time, because you're going to have to present all that information all over again.
Again,
Yeah.
okay, yep, makes
Yeah.
sense.
So I look forward to meeting you Thursday at 4. Have a fantastic day or evening. So it's just a real quick call to secure the appointment and also to get information about what they need.
Okay.
So that you know better how to meet their
Okay.
needs. Do you have any questions about
Yeah.
all that?
No.
No? Pretty good.
What was that thing you said about the
Oh, not-
RPR? Do you know the
Oh, RPR? Yeah,
Yeah,
when
what is
you when you're part of the when you've paid all your dues to belong to the Portland Metro Realtor Association, so the PMAR,
Oh, okay.
and you paid those monies, then you also have to pay for RMLS dues to help you list or buy or look at the RMLS. And so once you have those dues paid, then you have access to RPR, which is Realtor Property Resources, and they have a link on every single listing. And it's also a good way for you to look up a home, and it provides a valuation on that home, just like briefly, it's not an in-depth one. Obviously, they really are looking at, homes that are like kind, that are comps, but it helps provide that. So RPR, it's associated with RMLS.
Okay.
So
Cool.
you have to pay your dues to have RMLS first, and
Yeah.
then dues to be PMAR. And then once you have access to that, then you can access RPR. And you as a realtor, clients can't get on RPR. That's not for them. It's only for realtors. So it's a
Right.
great tool that provides demographics and stats and data about the neighborhoods, and is really, really great. I use it as one of the first things that I do when I look up a perceived value for a home, and then I'll go in depth a little bit more about coming up with valuable comps that are like kind.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Any questions? That was a good one. Anything else? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Did I go too far?
No, I think that's what we're at right now.
Yeah, I think that's where we are too. Okay, so at this point you've covered your A, B, and C for sellers. Oh dear, it's going on. Give me a second. Oh yeah, okay. That's where we are. Okay, so you uncovered your A, B, and C sellers. When you uncover any seller who's not able, ready, and willing to buy right now, that indicates that they are a future transaction you need to stay in touch with. This is where you use your touch plans to nurture for that relationship. And again, you could send your B and C potential seller market updates that keep them informed of the equity they could leverage to purchase a new home or investment property. We'll learn more about working with A sellers and win the sellers. Yeah. And your call to action for this session is to question and categorize your A, B, and C buyers and sellers right now. So that's what your thing is put them in your database and set them up on touch plans accordingly. So if you don't know any A buyers right now, that's okay. You have some C buyers or sellers, and you can put them in your database and start touching them that way, right?
Yep.
Okay, any ahas?
Mm. I mean, this is all hot to me because I never knew about this, so.
So I
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Okay. All right. So for our lead follow-up plan, this concludes our segment on lead follow-up, where we covered the importance of following up with people in your database forever so that you remain top of mind whenever they have a real estate need or know somebody else who does. We covered lead conversion, which is the path to the appointment, and signed agreement. We learned about strengthening relationships through touch plans that continually nurture them. And finally, we talked about how to qualify and categorize potential clients for now and future business. So make sure you read through the slide and use those qualifying questions to help you move forward. And I would, like I said, I'd have them printed out, and then you can keep notes on them as you have those conversations with your buyers and sellers, and do it every time with every buyer, with every seller. So that way you're not treating anybody differently. All right, and make sure that you have an accountability partner that's going to keep you accountable to that, right? Make sure you're sharing with your accountability partner and ask them to hold you accountable for the tasks and the deadlines that you have personally set, because that really helps you. And then just remember, stay top of mind forever. It's the challenge as real estate agents, but it definitely pays off.
Right.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else? Are we good? They did give you some homework that you guys are supposed to do.
This is the stuff that's next, because
Better?
I was about to ask, yeah, what else? Oh, I see what you're saying.
Okay, so here's some ahas. How has your thinking changed? What new mindsets or ideas were new? What do you feel differently about? What was meaningful for you today? How will your behaviors be different, and what actions will you take, and what tools, models, or systems will you use, and how will they make you accountable? So just some questions to think about. Make sure, here's your daily success system, that you have 10 conversations about real estate every day. And whatever that looks like, make sure that you get that you have 10 contacts that you're adding into your database. So Kevin, your assignment and your homework is to make sure that you put your parents in command right away and set them up on a smart plan. Try to do 10.
So those 10 contacts you want to put into command or something. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Try to add that database. And then as you're having those conversations with the people in your sphere, because you know that's where half of your business is going to come from, right? When you reach out to the people in your sphere, you can even just have a conversation with them and be like, hey, I just found out about this really great thing today in my training. It's called a smart plan. Would you mind if I set you up on it? It just means that you get an email every month about what's going on in your neighborhood. Like, boom. It's an awesome way of reaching out, and then the people in your life are like, you're like, it's an item of value that I'm providing to you, and you know, then every month you get it. It's pretty cool.
Nice, I like that.
And then you should try to do 10 handwritten notes to people in your database, or to a farm, or to people that, like, just pick a neighborhood and then start writing notes to them saying, hey,
Yeah.
this is me. Here's what I found out about the market stats this week, and blah, 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 whatever that happens to be. And then do a 10-5-1 social media engagement. That means 10, is it 10 comments? No, 10 likes, 5 comments, 1 personal message. That's what the 10-5-1 is.
Wait,
so
10
make
likes.
sure that you're doing
What is
10,
it?
5,
10
so
likes,
5 comments. Yeah.
Okay.
And then one direct message to somebody on social.
Okay.
And enrichments? I don't know. That one's new. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, other enrichment, just anything else that you know that you need to do, right? The person that you had the conversation with today, that might be falling under that extra category.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then it needs to be said Oh, wait, real quick. The first job of any real estate agent is lead generation, because the activity of generating leads is the foundation of your business. You have to do this daily and it'll help you. Okay. And then, of course, because we get involved in conversations with our sphere and lead generation, we must remember to comply with TCPA and do not call regulations. We must review we review this every Ignite session, because it is critical to protect yourself and the Market Center from legal action. Make this a permanent habit following it. So make sure that you're not calling people who are on the do not call list, and make sure that you are following the TCPA warnings. So hopefully this is not new information to you. It's important to know and abide by. Remember, texting also falls under that guideline. So it's not just calling, it's texting too. And emphasize no dialers or automated voice messages. Stress the importance of following these guidelines to protect yourself, and then remind them to check with their Market Center broker and attorney to ensure their compliance. And it's your responsibility to subscribe to the registry, check before you call, update your call list regularly, honor consumers' requests, and know the state and federal laws. It's essential that agents learn this now rather than later when they get sued. So it's important. All right, let's end with this. Kevin, you've been our reader for every one of these. Let's finish it off.
So I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me.
Awesome. Own those words, because when you do reach out and make your contacts, the tone that you approach those contacts with is going to be perceived by them. So do it with a positive spirit, like you are providing value to them. You're not putting something else on their lap. You're not giving them something that isn't important. You're providing value. And when you do that with that mindset and do it with that positivity and that upbeatness, people are going to be in tune to that, and they're going to flock to you, because they're like, oh yeah, that's right. You don't want to be like, I have to make my calls today, and then do it in that spirit, because then that's going to be perceived by your clients. You do it in the spirit of providing value. Okay, cool.
Right.
All right,
Great.
any other last questions? I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. On the sheet that came, they actually had the actual seller and questionnaire stuff. So make sure you have your plans in place as to who you're going to reach out to next, and have a fantastic day.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.